Good morning, class. Today we're going to be talking about audio and bringing sound into our games. So we have a starter project, which is essentially where we left off on the last project, where we have a ghost sprite that we can move around the screen and collect coins. What we want to do is start adding some sound to this game. So the first thing would be nice is if we had a sound effect for when we actually picked up a coin. We'd have some kind of coin-like sound. Now, for sound effects, we can always go and try to find a free version of usually a wave file is what we want for a sound effect. One of the better tools that I've found over the years is this one, BXFR, which was created by Ins Repair, and I apologize if I mispronounced that. Originally created SFXR, its first version, to help with some game jam work, and then went back and revised that and built a more robust application using, unfortunately, Adobe Flash, which is now no longer supported on any platforms. So if you try to launch it by going and clicking this button, like Chrome will actually refuse to allow you to run it. That said, you can still download the standalone version, which runs in Adobe Air. When you do that, be ready for your operating system to give you some complaints, because again, it's an unsupported format, and they're trying to market it as being dangerous. But this is the application if you download it, and you can see in here we have these buttons that can come up with an unusual sound. So, for example, I've been clicking the pickup coin, and these are different generated sounds that came up with. For pickups, and this is the one I went with. I really like that sound, but you can generate more, you can try different things, and you can also adjust all of these properties here and modify them with these buttons. There's a lot of control that you can actually do with this. It's a great way to generate kind of 8-bit sounding classical game sound effects. Now if you're going for a different kind of aesthetic, then obviously this is maybe not the best choice, but definitely it's worth taking a look at. And then when you decide you like a sound, you can export it by clicking this export wave, and save it where you want it, or you could actually export all the files, all the waves that you've created. So there's a lot of different ways of getting these out just as wave files. And because you're technically the one who generated them, there's no licensing to worry about. This is actually something that you've created. This is just a tool for creating that. You can also still download the old SFXR, which is actually a Win32 build, so this will work on Windows, or you can pull it down for Linux or as a Debian package. So there's some other ways you can get a hold of the original, which you can see looks somewhat similar. It doesn't quite have as much options as the other one does, but it'll still do the job. So once we've downloaded those sound effects and got them where we want them, so for example here is that pickup coin I was talking about, we need to bring them into our content project. So I'm going to go ahead and open my content project with the MGCB editor. I'm going to add that new item, or actually an existing item, and navigate to the content folder because it's already in the content folder, and go ahead and say open. And now notice the pickup coin wave is in here. As far as properties go, it's being imported with a wave importer and being processed into a sound effect, and we're keeping the quality at best, so nothing too surprising there. Once we have loaded that up, we can come back into our game and look at for where we want to actually do that sound playing. So if we come down, here is where we decide if a coin's been collected. So this is really where we'd want to play it, is within this if statement, and especially because this will only happen once. Remember, we had to make sure that that only triggered the first time we picked it up, so the coin actually has a collected Boolean value that we're setting to make it not collected the next time, so that we don't, if we continue colliding with where that coin is, we don't actually keep collecting it. And because this is a content, we're going to go ahead and add a variable for it. And We call them sound effects is the class that we're going to use. So sound effect class instance, and we'll call this coin pickup. And also notice that we're not in blue there, and that's because we have to bring in the right namespace, which is microsoft.xna.framework.audio is where all the sound effect and music stuff is defined. So now we have that. We come down to our content loading, and we're just going to go ahead and load that. Coin pickup equals content.load, and we're going to load it as a sound effect. And we need to use the name, which is pickup underscore coin 15 without the extension, so no wave. So exactly the same way we load textures. And oops, and we need to do that in the load content. This is actually initialize. So I'm going to do that down in here. There we go. And then finally when we get down in here, we can say coin pickup dot play. And that's really all there is to it. If we go ahead and run this, we should hear that sound effect now whenever we run over one of our coins. Alright, so that behaves pretty well. Works exactly like we'd expect. Okay, let's go ahead and switch now to doing music. So we do have this Dion Key, the game music file, and that was downloaded from the Free Music Archive, which, give me just a moment, mouse is fighting me, there we go. Which is a good place to pick up music that's been released under Creative Commons. Another good one is Jamindo. These are both websites that are commonly used by people who are looking for background music for their videos, but you can also use this kind of music for your video games potentially. Be aware that these all come with some kind of licensing agreement. So say we want Little Glass Men spray painted gold. Notice this is Creative Commons attribution license. So we could use this, but we need to make sure that we put them in our credits. So be sure you're familiar with the licensing terms before you try using one of these. In this case, the music that I've pulled down is actually Creative Commons by attribution and non-commercial and share alike. So anything we remix has to be reshared under the same license. It's not available for non-commercial or for commercial use, and we have to attribute the creator, which is D. Yan Key, which you can search for. He's on both the Free Music Archive and Jamindo Music. So we'll go ahead and add that song in here. And music is actually done under the, not the audio, but the using Microsoft.xna.framework.media. So we could bring a song in as a sound effect, as a WAV file, or potentially some other format that's supported, but that's a lot of, those tend to be very big WAV files. Let's go ahead and add our song, which is done the same way. It's an existing item. I've already put it in your folder, so we can just go ahead and pull that one in. And notice that here we're using an MP3 importer and we're importing it as a song. We'll save that. And now we've got our media. We've got, I need to create a variable for it, private song, and I'm going to call this background music. And in our load content, we can load that. And of course, we're going to load it as a song. And D Yan dash key dash the game, and no extension on that. And finally, we want to go ahead and probably play that and set it to be repeating. So we're not going to do this in the update or in the draw. We're going to do this probably just right here. Now in a larger game, we'd probably start the music whenever we load a level and switch when we don't. Now you'll notice background music doesn't have a play like the sound effect does. Instead, we play it with the media player. And then we put in our song, background music. And if we want this to be looping, media player dot is repeating, we set to true. So the media player is a static class with these various methods, and this is one of the big differences between a sound effect and a song in the media player. A sound effect we can play as many times as we want. We can even have them overlap if we're invoking it with the play, and it's going to create an instance and play that instance to the end and then destroy the instance. So it's a very quick way of playing it. The media player, on the other hand, is really an analog to the Windows media player. In fact, it's really just a wrapper around that media player. So it only plays one song at a time. We can put together a song list and have a song list that it goes through. We can even turn that into a shuffle, but in this case we're just going to have one song. We're just going to have it on repeating, and that means it's going to play for the entire game. So now you can hear the music in the background. If I remember right, this is about a 4-minute song, so it'll take a while before we hit the repeat. But there you go, background music.